We are going to have to act if we want to live in a different world.
Welcome to LOVEseat. We didn't have enough people to do an Edgecast, and it's been a while. I'm Victor Von Zoom, and with me is Garom.
Howdy. Now, the audience doesn't know this, but last week we tried to do one of these, and I opened the cast up with a bit of a song, and apparently it was so terrible I wrecked Zoom's audio for him.
Actually, what really happened is that your audio was fine. It was just I don't know how you didn't catch it though. For some reason, I had my mic so close to my mouth that it was twice as close as it is now, so it completely blew the fuck out of everything. Like I didn't have it like in my mouth or anything, but it was like, you know, the Blue Yeti is really sensitive, and I had it less than 6 inches away from my face, which is bad. And I don't know what possessed me to do that, but for whatever reason I did. Anyway.
And I'm surprised I didn't even hear it at all.
Yeah, that was what weirded me out. Is like I thought you would have caught it earlier and would have told me so we could adjust it, but whatever. It is the part of the creative process. Oh,
so
Suede will be back with us next week. Although tomorrow I might potentially do a LOVEseat with him over some of the stuff that he's been researching. Last 2 or 3 weeks now, I guess, has been just really hectic for me, and also it's just we have like everybody's been kind of out of order and didn't have time to, you know, actually bother looking up stuff because we're trying to be better about researching topics. However, this is LOVEseat, the new segment where we just come in here drunk as fuck and just talk about whatever the fuck, because there's only
I got my whiskey,
and I have a Not Your Father's root beer, except it's not just a regular Not Your Father's root beer. It's the giant 22-ounce one that's like 10.7%. So I'm just drinking. I'm just gonna be drinking like 2 ounces of pure alcohol with a bunch of root beer. Is basically what's going down.
And mine is Canadian Club Small Batch Canadian Whiskey. 12 years old.
I hope it's good. I went to a hookah bar last night to hang out with my old buddy, and fucking went to a hookah bar last night to hang out with my old buddy, and while I was waiting, I decided to peruse their drink menu because I have to drive there, so I usually can't drink. And they had like nothing. Like it was like, you know, you're in the middle of New Orleans and they just have the bog standard shit. It made me sad.
You should see some of the drink menus around where I live. They'll give it a creative name, and then you realize, oh, it's basically just like, I swear to God, one of the best places to get drinks where I'm around is a half-hour walk from where I am, and it's like the cheapest sports bar in the entire city.
Sports bar.
Yeah, but they have a great drink menu.
I
guess I go to all the nice bars, and it's like, oh, do you want...
We have wine on tap. What?
Well, they have all the domestics, and I'm like, do you have anything interesting? And they're like, we have all the domestics. I'm like, listen, I don't need another Canadian or Budweiser or Sleeman's. Just no. Everyone's got
I
those.
thought it was Canada, so you'd think that there would just be like, you know, hipster fucking beer gardens goddamn everywhere.
Well, there are in like the downtown core, but I live in the burbs, so there's just fucking nothing. But this one, I mean, it's not like it's the usual hipster bar type level of selection, but they do alternate and rotate through some good stuff.
And then they rotate into shit.
Well, it's just the seasonal stuff that they rotate in and out.
Well, seasonally you get shit.
Actually, it was sunny today. It was our first day of sun in about 4 months.
Well, and over here the sun just now went down, and it's 8 o'clock at night. So, fuck it.
Anyways, maybe we should start bitching and whining about
We had
the
some old
world.
topics in the last few weeks, and then we've had a bunch of hilarious shit that came up recently. That is just stuff we didn't even have to research, so it's good for this. But
So we talked a lot in the last LOVEseat that didn't get published about the Netherlands and their election.
Nazis.
And yes, well, yeah. I found it hilarious that it's like, oh, they're Nazis. They just had a democratic election. Right, they're not Nazis. And I don't want to go into as much detail because that was about all we talked about. But it was driving me nuts, the narrative the media was spinning about, oh my God, we beat Gert Wilders, we defeated populism, woo, go us.
Yeah, and I remember saying about that. It's like you can't graduate. What was it? What was the thing that happened later on where we talked about how like like some of the same kind of people not bought an election but basically like ignored ignored the will of the people, and it was the Canadian government, wasn't it, ignoring their constituency about the Muslim ban thing. So I was like, yeah, they defeated populism too.
Yeah, Bill M103, which isn't
Still
technically a
mad.
bill, it's a motion, and we'll get to that one in a while. But again, to give the audience a bit of a rundown, so the media narrative is we beat Gert Wilders, we beat populism, yay.
You can't.
Now,
how do you beat populism without
you don't,
sounding like you're just a fascist, like, or
Well,
some form of totalitarian? Like,
well, what do you want? They're in their little echo chamber.
what do you want?
So
They're fucking retarded.
I find their narrative hilarious because Gert Wilders' party started off with what, 15 seats? Now he has 20. His party grew by a third. I wouldn't exactly call that defeat. It's not victory, but it sure as hell ain't defeat. He succeeded in growing his party. The other thing that they absolutely refuse to talk about is the Labour Party in the Netherlands. They lost 33 seats. They have 9 now. And to put that in perspective, the current ruling party now has 33 seats. So the Labour Party over there lost as many seats as the current ruling party even has to begin with.
Wonderful.
Which is fucking hilarious. And the news won't talk about that because, of course, it's the left-wing party.
Yeah, because they control the fucking media.
Well, yes, but I'm also looking at them going, I don't think it's the old school left.
Where's Citizen Kane when you need him?
So it's but it's the old school left, and I go, well, what was the result of the Netherlands election? What you basically saw was the big parties all lost seats, and all the little parties gained seats. So my conclusion was the result of the Netherlands election was chaos. Political chaos over there. And people are pretty much just looking at the ballot sheet, throwing their arms up in the air, closing their eyes, and just ticking off a name.
I imagine.
Not a clue what they're doing.
And then there was M103, which I remember you're still quite salty about. Which is
a lot of people are salty about Bill M103 because it does things like denounce Islamophobia without actually providing a definition for Islamophobia.
Which means it's just like German hate speech laws all over again.
Yes, it's denouncing a thing that there is no legal definition or no clear definition at all, and B, even in common parlance, no one quite knows what it means. Some people are saying it's a fear of Muslims. Some people are saying anyone who disagrees with anything to do with Islam is an Islamophobe. It's the world's most abused buzzword at this point. So it's denouncing this thing that no one really seems to have a clue what this thing is. So that's problematic on a legal level to begin with. The other interesting thing, and this is what scares the living fucking bejeebus out of me, is sets out a committee to investigate Islamophobia in Canada.
Yeah.
And I'm just
This
I've got
sounds
this
like some like retardo state shit going on.
all my brain just keeps on flashing to the McCarthy Committee on Anti-American Activities.
Except what's terrifying about that is that McCarthy was right, so you might want a different different metaphor here.
Well, it's more than just the concept of it turned
A
into
witch hunt.
a witch hunt, and I'm looking at this going, we're talking Canada here. If you look at any stat from the United Nations to the government of Canada and any NGO, you'll very quickly find that Canada is at the top of the list of most accepting countries. So
Yeah.
if this committee decides that they are going to find Islamophobia from the get-go, they're going to have to dig deep, and it is going to have to be a horrible, horrible witch hunt. And it's going to be basically anyone who says anything bad about Islam, which inevitably is going to mean not only sort of the indigenous population, whether white, Asian, black, anyone, but also moderate Muslims or Muslim reformists or liberal Muslims, any non at this point, let's face it, a lot of these government officials, I think, are listening to Islamists. So anyone who isn't a Islamist is going to get branded as an Islamophobe. And that's my fear, that this is just going to turn into a giant witch hunt led by a bunch of crazy Islamists.
Yeah, I can see it.
And they're idiots, McLiberal, douchebag
Idiot
followers
McLiberal.
who would not know liberalism if it walked up and slapped them in the face. They'd go, "Who the fuck are you?" And the guy would respond, "I'm motherfucking John Locke.
I'm
Who the
a
fuck are you?"
Oh, that's good.
And they'd probably respond, "Who? That guy from Lost?"
Are you guys retarded?
Yeah, well. I always, that character drove me insane because he did not act like John Locke. But anyways, moving along. So the saga of Bill M103 has been long. And one of the more interesting aspects I want to bring up is how the Conservative Party of Canada, who compared to the Americans are still like super liberal, reacted to Bill M103. And they did something very interesting. They didn't just throw it right under the bus. They went, maybe we can use this as an opportunity to virtue signal ourselves. So they proposed a rewrite to the bill. And when the bill denounced Islamophobia, they said, well, wait one moment here. First off, you haven't defined Islamophobia. Second off, what about other populations within Canada who might be the victims of something similar? So they wanted to change the bill to the wording of the bill to something to the, or excuse me, motion to something to the effect of irrational hatred of people belonging to certain religious groups, such as Hindus, Jews, Muslims. It went on and just said, and any other religious community. So it was going to provide at least some sort of a definition of the word, which is irrational hatred of. And that would exclude, say, someone who is, say, criticizing Sharia law. Clearly, if someone's constructing an argument about how Sharia law violates certain Canadian charter rights, that's not an irrational hatred. And that sort of activity is not being denounced. And it also says that, wait one moment, we shouldn't be putting one group up on a pedestal. We should be saying anyone in any religious community shouldn't face persecution simply because they belong to that religious community. Which, funny enough, is already consistent with Canadian law.
Indeed. And yet they still push through this shit.
Yes, the Liberal Party basically said, go fuck yourself.
You know.
Which is
and
interesting.
They have no approval rating, so they defeated populism.
A recent study, poll, whatever, conducted on the motion found only 14% of Canadians agreed with the motion as written. And I believe it was about 40% of the respondents favored the Conservatives' rewrite. That still leaves almost half of Canadians, a very good portion, being absolutely against the bill. So it's just yet one more, yay, we're going to defeat populism. One problem there, Justin. Do you understand that democracy is kind of based on the concept of populism?
Yep. But, they don't understand that, just like everybody else who has been anti-Trump since the election, where they don't understand how representative democracies work, or just
They think they
representation
can.
works.
It's like they think they can insult their constituents, and their constituents are just going to blindly vote for them. Not so
You
much there,
can't
buddy.
tell me what to do, shitlord.
So that was a colossal fail from Trump, and even his defenders in the press had to admit that it was a bad fucking move.
On his part?
Oh, on the liberals' part, yeah, it was just dumb. If they were clever, they should have taken the olive branch the Conservative Party was offering them.
I imagine. And yet
So
they
you
still
wanted to-
didn't.
So do you want to talk about the Zero Hedge article about the CIA watching Trump for over 2 years?
I would. The thing is, though, is that Swade has been researching it.
Oh.
He's been researching it, so more than likely, when he and I get together, whether it's on a LOVEseat or whether it's the three of us during the next Edgecast, we're gonna go ham on that motherfucker. Because it's just Swade. You just tell it's like, hey, Swade, what? The CIA triggered.
Yeah, I have noticed he gets triggered pretty easily, and it's kind of fun.
Well, he gets triggered easily by stuff like the CIA.
Well, they trigger a lot of people right before putting a bullet through their head. But
They trigger a lot before putting a bullet through their head. It's
Yeah,
a terrible
yeah.
joke. I suck. Yeah. No. Something I did want to talk about that I should we should probably edit this as a separate snippet later, just in the event that it ever gets picked up by Styx. I did submit a message to him, and I've been trying to network with some of the other Discords, even if we don't agree on everything with them. As far as everything goes, because even though I don't like a lot of the I'll be honest, I don't like a lot of the people that he's gathering to his side, but he has a point. And I hope you know what this is about, but it's the whole. In case you don't, is Styx Hexenhammer 666 has called for an alliance of YouTubers to stand up against YouTube and Google itself, because what he thinks is going on, I'm pretty sure he's very right in this, is that all of these YouTube glitches that we've been experiencing lately, having to do with restricted mode and like people like Mr. Mediker, who have been bringing up how like comments are being fucked with, and everyone's complained about subscriber counts for a while now, and then the bell icon for everything, so you have to be annoyed to get stuff in your subscription box and whatnot. What he thinks is going on is that Google is starting to push out content creators because there's various corporate interests that are convincing them that they can somehow make Google and YouTube more money through their streaming services, is trying to be like this, shitbag corporate ad hoc Netflix. And
yes, I would tend to agree with that analysis, considering that YouTube hasn't made money in years.
Yeah. The thing
And
is,
the recent freak out with advertisers
and PewDiePie and everything.
and PewDiePie, the media has right now been just on a crusade to take down YouTube, because they correctly realize that YouTube is going to kill them. And they want to desperately cling on to power for one more day. So they're going to try and convince YouTube to screw themselves over. Or in this case, get rid of all the content creators from YouTube who are pushing out the narrative counter to what the media is trying to espouse, and also taking the mainstream media's audience away from them.
Yeah.
YouTube, I think, is being colossally stupid for.
Yeah, but I mean, they're kind of. You're right. They might be kind of trapped between a rock and a hard place. However, pretending that corporate entities will somehow help them is ridiculous, because those guys are bastards. They're always out for themselves, no matter what happens. And
the way I see it, let's say YouTube does somehow manage to go down this path, and they do become basically the corporate Netflix safe space for corporatism and globalism.
globalism.
And then what? Now you're completely dependent upon those same people, and they can boss you around, and you have to do whatever they tell you to do because you're entirely dependent upon them for your financial viability. Yes, it might be difficult right now. However, nobody in, say, the rational skeptic community or the LGBT community is looking to control YouTube.
Yeah.
And they're basically, I look at them and I'm like, how do you not fucking see that you're trading away your freedom for, sorry dudes, but you're not going to make money off of what these corporations are proposing. They are constantly going to be beating down the rates that they have to pay for advertising. You're never going to be financially viable even under their fucking system, ever.
Yeah.
What's going to happen is that all the interesting people, all the people that everyone goes to YouTube to watch, are simply going to go to another platform. I mean, this happened in MySpace. Everyone overnight bailed on MySpace and went to Facebook, and MySpace
Yeah, it seems
was a juggernaut
everyone's.
one year, and then a year later was a fucking wasteland. It took,
Yeah.
what, a year, 2 years?
Everyone,
That's
yeah,
fast.
everyone thought it was going to be Daily Motion for a while, but they just don't have the juice. And SoundCloud is German owned, so it's like, paused from the get go. But what seems to be gaining a lot of traction is Minds and Vimeo.
Yes,
So
Vimeo has been growing for a little while, very quietly, and Minds is the newcomer on the scene, and they do have within at least the rational skeptic community quite a few backers, from Computing Forever to Sargon of Akkad.
yeah,
At least it's not Candid.
yeah. Although the thing, Computing Forever. I disagree with him too. I'm just saying this because I want it to be out in the open, that I'm not like about how I feel about these things. But Computing Forever, he is he was still on the money about Candid. He stood back, and he's as far as I know, maybe I just haven't done my research, but as far as I know, he was pretty stand up about that and verified, identified all the different threats the YouTube community was facing. Sargon of Akkad so far has done nothing but defend the people that have been shilling Candid, and he
I,
tried.
I I don't think contractually he has any choice, and that's pretty fucking dark.
Well, that's the thing, is that Sargon wasn't contracted by Candid. I don't think he
I thought he
was.
was.
He was.
I thought he was.
No, he didn't do an ad for them. Not that I'm aware of. You know who did do an ad for them that was really out of the ordinary if you believe the narrative he was spinning? Black Pigeon Speaks. And but I'm pretty sure Black Pigeon Speaks is a honeypot at least, if not he's a honeypot at least, if not just some Pollock with video editing, with good, with a professional video editing experience, and a lot of fucking time to shit the bed.
To be fair, we don't know who the fuck he is in real life.
Yeah, though he's very much obviously alt right, and he runs a media content website, and he lives in Japan, and he's been open about all of this.
Yeah, and he's what, American by birth?
Maybe,
The thing we know.
potentially.
Despite living in Japan, I don't detect any traces of a Japanese accent.
Well, I don't think he's Japanese, but you never know.
Well, no, obviously no, but it's just my question would be, how long have you been living in Japan?
Yeah.
Because I find it weird that you would think you would pick up at least a bit of an accent after a little while.
Although I don't know how accents translate between Western and Eastern languages.
Oh, they're completely different languages.
Yeah.
So,
So
considering how much accents vary, say, within England, from the north to the south.
yeah, but at the
Imagine
same
an
time,
entire
you're
freaking
still,
ocean.
You're still speaking a language, those accents vary because you're still speaking a language that in itself is they're all still speaking the same language, and the accents vary by dialect and lingo. What I'm saying is that in that case, I think it just for lack of a better term, it doesn't translate.
Well, anyways,
That's all
despite some
beside the point.
tinfoil hat theories about who people really are.
That's beside the point.
Yeah,
But,
I
like,
do remember him doing a Candid thing.
yeah, like Black
And
Pigeon
he's
Speaks
been,
did a Candid ad. When
but
like
he's been quiet on the entire subject, which I think if he's had to accept a contract which says you can't criticize Candid, that's probably the best thing he can do is just shut his mouth, let the contract expire. Don't
Yeah.
violate the contract and just keep your mouth shut.
But I mean, like, you'd think that the dude would have like done his fucking research, if like he is the kind of person he is, or like the outfit that he represents is the kind of outfit that they portray themselves as, where they're like trying to explain to everybody all these different conspiracy theories and everything. It's like, oh yeah, this is why globalism is going wrong.
We somehow managed to go down the Candid rabbit hole again.
It's a major issue, at least as far as I'm concerned. But I mean, it's like
It's an interesting. It definitely is interesting to
I
see.
mean, it would be better if we had Suede on here to like give us more precedence for it. But the thing is that he and I both did we followed up on the same stuff that Johnny Fox and Harmful Opinions did, and like the people who are behind it, almost everybody that is publicly behind Candid, are people that have no interest in any kind of free speech platform.
They're not they're not even social media people. They're big data people.
Yeah, which means
What's a bunch of big data people doing running a social networking site?
Yeah, what I honestly think they're doing is they're trying to create tools for people to they're trying to create tools to easily identify via posting style and content searches the kinds of people that dissent the narrative they want to push, or even if this is not an ideological thing, just the kind of people that would disrupt any kind of ad cycle or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, because
we've already seen with Twitter and their the games they've been playing with prioritizing people who show up on in terms of comments on people's videos or
I mean,
posts. I mean, the joke about Donald Trump, every time he posts something, right at the top of the list it's all the negative stuff, and then you scroll down a little bit and then you see all of this positive stuff, and you start questioning, why is it always the negative stuff at the top?
Or by yeah. And I mean, we've known for a long time that conservative leaning people, generally speaking, we know that conservative people, generally speaking, are very good about, or not very good, but like they don't buy into mainstream ads. We know that they do buy into ads. I mean, like people like Alex Jones make a living selling water filters, but like there's plenty that like a lot of more conservative leaning people are going to be more skeptical of ad stuff and just whatever's the mainstream the mainstream opinion on shit until they become the mainstream opinion themselves. But like, and the thing is that like there's numerous different they've had studies on it that I wish I could I need to remember what they were called so I can find them again. I could probably Google them up in a bit. But there's been studies, and I know that like some of my favorite stuff was like the concentrated like green text they had about it they had during Gamergate, where they talked about how like they're like during Gamergate people were wondering why there was a lot of game companies that didn't seem to have any kind of ideological bias, siding with SJWs and games journalism and stuff, and these were game companies that were big enough that they didn't need to be syndicated with them to get their shit published or sold. So the conclusion a lot of people came to, especially after like a lot of anecdotal posts, and I mean anecdotal, of people who had worked with marketing off of Reddit who were talking about like companies that marketed shit to feminists and social justice warriors, was that they were the closest people got to they were the closest you got to what corporations consider the perfect consumer. And that they just buy, they never complain about anything, and like they take shit that costs nothing. I mean, we know about, like, you remember the whole the shenanigans with, like, this is what a feminist looks like T-shirt that was actually made by, like, that was like, this is what a feminist looks like. If you buy this T-shirt, we donate like part of the proceeds to charity, to feminist charities or something. When, like,
I think I might remember that
the
one.
T-shirt itself was made by, was like, it was the T-shirt itself was made by sweatshop workers, and was like made by these female sweatshop workers in India, that for, like, cents, for, like, 2 cents an hour or something.
Why am I not too surprised that the feminists don't live up to even their own standards?
Because they're fucking retarded. Either way.
Why do I need feminism? Because no one will give me what I want if I simply say I'm selfish.
Yeah. Oh. Anyway.
But it's concerning to see YouTube kind of just... They're imploding. Like,
yeah.
Like
and it makes me upset because one of the videos that, like, and I not just the implosion itself upset or any else, but, like, one of the videos that I saw recently was Harmful Opinions, who basically kind of just stuck his head in the sand about it, when it's like, dude, you've been on a roll for, like, how many months now, and then you go and fuck up like this? Because, like, he did a video called The Coming Adpocalypse, and I don't know if you'd watched that when I linked it, but the problem with it is, like, yeah, he has a point in the sense that, like, a lot of YouTubers will use this as an opportunity to push the hell out of their Patreon, or be like, turn off ad block, please, I need the money. But, like, at the same time, it was totally disingenuous for Harmful to act like, they didn't have a point, to act like YouTube wasn't imploding, and to act like these people didn't at least even if they were kind of being somewhat disingenuous about how they pursued it, they still had genuine goals, like a genuine, very real, very identifiable problem behind it. That was, motherfucker, this is the way that they make a living, and it's the way they make a living, and just because you disapprove of the way they make a living doesn't mean that, like, it's any less legitimate than what you do to get your money. Yeah, we can hem and haw all day about how YouTubers don't really work and they're not real people or whatever the fuck. I mean, I've had those thoughts before myself, because, it's just, when you work a regular 9 to 5, it sucks to go home and see these people that just say bullshit on the internet and get, like the video game streamers that just get paid to play video games on stream, and they get paid to play video games badly. They get paid to just, spew bullshit about stuff they don't know what they're talking about on a game they barely know how to play, because they're entertaining to like the lowest common denominator. It sucks, but, like, that's just, the way people are. And like, it's essentially like, on a macro scale, he's kind of fighting human nature by trying to say, like, no, you guys are all being disingenuous by not wanting to have your have your ads taken away from you and everything. And it's just, it's like, it's upsetting, because he's one of the most powerful voices we've had towards the side of, clarity and just, sincerity in how what is slowly becoming a better news network than any major on TV, in the sense of YouTube, is, falling apart, because that was my biggest issue with the skeptic community for a long time. Skeptic community, like, was better at giving you the news and better at giving you skeptical analysis of stuff than actual news websites and actual news programs and networks were on TV or the internet or radio or wherever. It's just, as long as they still had access to the same kind of information. The problem is that once they started putting their ideology into it, once they started, shilling out, selling out for money, and then, like, the final biggest threat is Candid, where it's like the entire reason why they were that good at their job for the longest time was because they had, they were in an open marketplace where they could be competed against by somebody on equal footing. So they had, like, the freedom of speech enforced that. And, like, there was nothing stopping the flow of information. And now they're campaigning for something that they're actively, just for a few $1,000s, all of these people who were supposed to be committed towards, freedom of speech and accountability and clarity and transparency, especially in the light of shit like Gamergate and everything else. They all, just rolled over and pulled like spread those cheeks for this social media campaign, this social media site that is just a smokescreen for a bunch of people that are trying to create a way to prevent people like the skeptic community from ever existing ever again.
Yeah, I was about to say, if you're a YouTuber, let's say you make on ads $20,000 a year,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden someone rolls up and offers you $20,000.
Or in the case of Candid, like $3K.
Okay, $3,000. And they want you to pimp their stuff. Now, it's nice to go, first thought's probably, oh, yay, someone's finally recognizing me for the value I'm worth. No, they're not. You're not worth $3,000. You're a nobody on the internet. Why are they offering you $3,000? Well, it's not because you're not worth $3,000, because you're worth exactly $3,000. Question, why are you worth $3,000? Why did they not go to the next level and go, well, wait one moment here? Why?
I have no idea.
I just look at them and
there's
say,
so many.
you weren't the least bit curious, just a touch curious.
I mean, I know, like it just makes me sad because they, like, some of them I had suspicions that they were scumbags. I mean, we know Sargon of Akkad is a crafty motherfucker who, like, he's like the TB of the skeptic community, where he is actively, like, he doesn't just sit on the fence. He moves the fence as he needs, and then has his fan base shout you down if you call him out for it. And if I may, like, use some of the references that L.O.V.E has made.
Or what was it? Him on the Teal Deer. We started making insinuations about Teal Deer.
Teal Deer. Teal Deer is, like, so out of touch, and he's such a jackass. But, like, when he actually bothers to, like, care about an issue, he's so fucking on point that, like, that was a slaughter. He just took him out to the fucking woodshed on that one.
Yeah, but it was interesting to see Sargon try and argue against him, because I'm kind of listening to him going, Sargon's trying to use some of the same tactics the SJWs use. It's trying to move the goalposts, trying to redefine words. Sorry, I was listening. It's kind of hard because I remember listening to the live stream and I'm trying to drive at the same time, so my recollection isn't excellent on this one.
Yeah.
But it was just what sticks in my mind was just remembering listening to it, and Sargon was not demonstrating clarity of thought, and I thought that was interesting that all of a sudden he was demonstrating the same behaviors he rails against.
Yeah.
However, it also tells you that as much as everyone would like to put themselves on a pedestal, you can knock yourself off of that pedestal real damn fast.
Though it's been a fucking hard road for Sargon, though, just because, like, I mean, I've had a bone to pick with him for a while now, and other things have gotten in the way, obviously. I mean, fuck, I'm still working on that whole quasi-documentary / like argumentation thing I have against Edgy, even though he's gone. So it's like, it's the crazy supervillain shouting at the ghost, but still, like, it's just that's the issue. I think that's where it all crystallizes. It's not just the corruption. It's the fact that, like, a community that came about mostly because of corruption in media, that became a new form of media, had no accountability because they managed to, socially engineer their audiences so well. Like, it's like if you took out the pothead part of the equation, how many people still watch, The Amazing Atheist or The Drunken Peasants and think that they're getting, like, real information?
I tried to watch their podcast about a month ago, and I got about 10 seconds in before they started making poop jokes.
Yeah.
And I'm just looking at this, just what
I can't tell if he used
you guys
to be
really
genuinely
want to
entertaining
use,
or if I just grew up, but it happens.
I just, with the drunken peasants, I shake my head. It's like, this is the poster child of the community some people want to put out there. Are you nuts? You fucking nuts! These people are a bunch of losers who sit in their fucking parents' basement pretty much. They don't they don't have anything to contribute other than shitting on everybody and everything. And then they try and bring up salient points, and it's this. I remember, what was it? The amazing atheist, basically sucking Bernie Sanders' cock on, like, oh, we should raise the minimum wage to $15, and he quotes the same tire statistics that have been debunked 100 times already, and somehow he just never paid any attention to the criticism of these stats.
Yeah.
He shows no fucking understanding of economics. I love how it was this, like, the same week he put out that video or something. What was it? Burger King announced that they're going to now have automated ordering stations. No more people at the cash register. They're already paying them $5 an hour, but guess what? A robot can do it for cheaper. What do you think is going to happen when they start paying people $15 an hour? Like, that's argument's been used before, like a million times. Like, there are certain jobs, like, how can I take your order that, I'm sorry, we're coming up with robots to do that. There's other jobs that for some reason I don't understand why they can't be automated, but they're still not automated. Like, I work in manufacturing, and there's tons of work that you think a robot could do, and it's like, no, actually that's an incredibly complicated task. Like, you have no idea how intricate that is. Or you pick up an object, and you and I might be able to do it.
Yeah, did we
You pick
talk
up an
about
object
this?
and you look at something and you just know everything about the object.
Didn't we
But it's
talk
like,
about this last time, about how you were saying, like, part of the problem with the dronification of different assembly lines was that you would talk to a software engineer that had worked with visual identification systems, and they're
yes.
still, like, hyper complicated.
Oh, and they don't work 100% of the time, and the machinery gets confused. Like, even the lighting can apparently throw everything off. So it's clear that he doesn't really understand not only the stats of the economics, but, like, okay, he's never worked in industry. He's never done any of these jobs. He doesn't know any context about it. And he just embarrassed himself, which is, I guess, the point of it. I guess what I'm trying to get at more. Yeah, he didn't sit down and do his research. But here's a question for you. Colin Moriarty's Last Stand.
No. Oh, God. I fucking hate that guy so much.
I'm looking at his...
That is the man. He has been such a preposterous douchebag since he appeared with IGN. Like, I don't understand how the fuck he didn't have somebody just, stomp the shit out of him during a mugging. Because, like, you can see the douche energy on him through camera. So I don't know how he's just never been in some kind of,
Dude, have you noticed the people he's surrounded by? It doesn't take that much work to be cooler than, say, Greg Miller.
Oh, God.
Who's pretty much the epitome of...
We need to find... Someone needs to find them while they're, someone really needs to find them while they're fucking, carpooling to Taco Bell and just fling a Molotov at their fucking shitbag, whatever, shitbag hipster car they drive.
I'm not sure they drive because they live in San Francisco, but every time I see Greg Miller, I immediately go, hey, do the truffle shuffle.
Oh...
He's that guy. You know he's that fucking guy.
As a fat man, please don't fucking push me like that, man. I don't want to... Don't compare... Do not compare me to him.
As a fat man who is now losing weight and is feeling much better about themselves, kind of like Lena Dunham is all of a sudden discovering.
Oh, fuck Lena Dunham.
Well, it's funny that she lost a bunch of weight recently, and she's like, I feel so much better about myself. My first thought was,
who
can
cares?
You shut up?
You're still a pedophile.
It's like, now can you shut up about the fucking feminism? Now that you actually have some self-confidence, you don't need to overcompensate.
I don't care if she has self-confidence. She should be in jail.
Yes, and they still get pissed off at Milo. Anyways, okay, how much money do you think Colin is making from
Um,
Patreon per month?
I, if Jim Sterling's anything to go off of, like some inordinate amount of money in like five figures,
$41,000 a month.
fucking kill yourself. Just
I'm
Molotovs.
looking at that going, it's like he makes more money in 2 months. He makes more money in 6 weeks than I make in a year.
Yeah.
Motherfucker.
Jim Sterling makes over 20K a month. And like Jim Sterling, I mean, I guess he kind of needs that much because to contain the mass that is him and his wife, he must like need like a pallet of food for every meal. And it's got to start adding up at the end of the month, but good god, like how the fuck do these people have so many followers that are just willing to just give them so just like here's an entire like what is that?
$5.
Yeah.
Wait, he's got. Let me just do a bit of math here. Pull up the old calculator because I can't do this in my head.
I mean, that would mean that if they had 20,000 subscribers, every one of them gave him $1 a month. But, like...
So the average donation to him is $6.47
Fuck.
a month, which is what, like, less than like dinner at like a fast food joint.
No.
I mean, I could get like a roll of sushi for that much.
No. You're overestimating, You're overestimating the power of the U.S. dollar.
Listen, the last time I went to a fast food joint, it was like $10 fucking for a burger, fries, and root beer.
Yeah, but when was that? Like, when was that? Like 6 years ago?
Like a month ago.
Well, 6 years ago in Canada time, I guess.
Yeah, it was A&W. It was pretty fucking shitty.
I'm sorry.
I chose poorly.
You have chosen poorly.
I'm just going to say,
to
to be fair, we tried to go to the Cactus Club and it was packed, and it was either the Cactus Club or A&W. Cactus Club, A&W. Cactus Club, A&W.
Sadness.
Hey, it was a half-hour lineup.
Still, extreme sadness.
I would have taken like an all-you-can-eat sushi place at that point. Yeah, sure, it might give you a freaking botulism, but it's got to be better than A&W and cheaper too. What the fuck were we talking about? Oh yeah, I got talking about robots because I have a weird sexual fetish about that, I guess.
What?
Wait, did I just say that out loud?
You're trying too hard to look human, Garom. Go back to being an engineer. Everybody knows you're not people. I gotcha.
Hey, at least I'm not a freaking spook.
What?
Not implying that you are.
Did you just say that out loud again? That's awful.
No,
I can't believe. No, I'm not even just racially offended. I mean, I'm not really racially offended, but like, why? Why the fuck? Are like, is Canada
like a CIA
so?
agent.
All right. I thought you meant like black people. I was like, Canada's really fucking old school, huh?
Why would a spook be a racist term for a black person?
Look, dude, I'm from the deep south. I know all kinds of shit that doesn't make sense.
We have names for black people in Canada. Bob, Margaret, Nancy, Philip.
And that's it? That's all four of
The
them.
list goes on.
Yeah.
We're
No,
tripling.
like, dude, did you know that, alright, so, you know that, like, you know what a coon is, right?
Yeah.
And then, so, like...
Small, fuzzy creature.
No, that's a raccoon. But, like, alright, so what's the difference between a coon and a coon ass?
The ass is a part of the coon.
No, a coon ass isn't even a coon at all. A coon ass is a racial slur for Cajuns.
Oh.
But coon is, like, you know what a coon is it's totally different. So you're like, what the fuck?
That just makes more... Why don't you just call them Frenchies?
Because they're not French.
Well, the Cajuns, so they're like half French.
No, they're Cajun, because Cajun is Cajun is a
Type of chicken.
No, I'm gonna fucking kill you. You didn't just say that, motherfucker. No, Cajun is a degeneration of Acadian, which means they were from a place called Acadia, which was part of what became Quebec. You Canadians kicked them out, and now they're here. My people, Garom.
We
Your
should have kicked them all
people.
out. Things would have been so much better. Quebec would have never happened. Quebec was a mistake.
Quebec was a mistake. Well, I don't know, dude. I mean, Cajuns kind of like, contributed a lot of really good culture. So maybe kicking them out
Delicious food.
Yes. Maybe I'll send you a gumbo recipe so you can like stop eating like snow every day.
Or sushi.
Snow, sushi, AW, and like shitty Chinese pussy is apparently like your fucking like gastronomical itinerary for the last like 7 years of your life.
Yep.
That must have been awful.
Speaking of awful, Canadian one payer healthcare. So I hear that you guys, or maybe not.
Well, the whole Ryancare debacle was ridiculous, but
My God. I can't believe that he thought Trump, honest to God, thought he was going to. How long did it take Trump, Obama, to put in
Obamacare?
Obamacare? Probably what was it, about a year?
It took him forever. Like, I mean, I don't know if it was like 2 years or like a year and a half, but like it felt like the longest goddamn slog anyone's ever experienced. Just because of the whole like the government shut down twice over it. Then there was the Supreme Court where everyone's like, Antonin Scalia has betrayed us and everything.
And then he died mysteriously.
Yeah, there's all the people that like did not fucking understand that, like they didn't understand that, like, look, it's like when you actually are an arbiter, like if you're an agent of law, like you're an arbiter of law in the sense that you're a judge, a prosecutor, or a lawyer of other kind or whatever. It's like you can like there's to a certain extent you can be a scumbag. Everyone knows this, but to a certain extent you're not allowed to fuck with your position. And like everyone didn't understand that Antonin Scalia's like the way Scalia operated, he couldn't just say no, this is totally unconstitutional. But he had to point out that car insurance was bullshit.
Scalia was an interesting judge.
Yeah. And I mean, 8chan's still trying to figure out. 8chan's still trying to figure out. If they've been going through the DNC emails for months and months and months, they're still trying to figure out if he was killed by the Clinton camp yet.
Well, I guess the good news is I watched a bit of the Gorsuch.
The Gorsuch. You got one of those fetishes now too, huh?
Robot Gorsuch.
Yeah. Robots, no. Asians, and
let's just call him the Gorsh.
The Gorsh. It's like Borscht but gayer.
Yeah. So I've been watching the Gorsh hearings. And I was actually really impressed with them. Like I can agree. Al Franken made himself look like such a fucking asshole.
Oh, I'm so disappointed in that man.
Like I just look at Al Franken and I'm like, okay, I used to like you a few years ago, and now I realize you're just a shitberg.
Yeah.
You're just an asshole. Like he asked, like at one point he asked a question about the quote unquote Muslim ban and whether that was constitutional. And Gorsuch's response was pretty much just, no, I can't comment on that because it's currently going through the court system. That's illegal. You just asked me to do something. You just asked me to do something that's illegal. And I'm sitting there going, there's no way that one of these questions doesn't show up on Al Franken's question sheet without a battery of lawyers looking at it first. They fucking knew that question he couldn't answer legally.
Yeah.
They still asked it. I looked at all the questions that they were well, at least the highlight reel, and it was just trip up question after trip up question after trip up question. They
Yeah.
didn't
No,
care
like,
about they didn't care about his technical qualifications. They just wanted to find out politically what he believes and then shit on him for having a legal opinion. Even as he said quite clearly, my job is not to make the law, my job is to interpret the letter of the law and simply tell people what the law says. I'm not here to write policy.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know what is with the left these days, and just constantly like, they have gone, you know,
Full
all
on
out,
ideologue.
yeah, just out all out attack on everything to the point where like they're just leaving themselves open left, right, and center for ass fuckings.
What's gobsmacking me is their complete lack of respect for the Constitution of the United States of America. Listen, there are three branches of the United States government: the legislative, the executive, and the judicial. Listen, the legislative branch of the government, do you understand this, Democrats? Write the laws. The executive branch acts on those laws. And when there is ambiguity or somebody breaks the law, the judicial branch does it. You don't like the law, you don't get the judicial branch to change the law. You get the legislative branch. Oh, except you lost the legislative branch. And you
You
lost the
lost all
executive
of
branch.
them.
So I look at them and I go, you don't give a shit about the system. You don't give a shit about the rules. You just give a shit about winning. And that is where you are screwing up completely.
Yeah.
You have become such a pack of ideologues. All that matters is winning. You don't give a fuck who you trample in order to win. You don't give a crap about what virtues and ideals you leave behind. So long as you get your little ideological win. But guess what? Most of the American public, I don't think, buys into that narrative. It doesn't buy into that ideology. And all the Democrats have done this last, 4 to 8 years is shit on the average American and just completely disrespect the rule of law. Like, I started out liking Obama, but
Everybody kind of did.
yeah, we did. But
he
I
ran on the whole, I'm going to be a reformer, hope and change, blah, blah, blah.
and he did reform the government into giving more power to the executive branch to the point where he was basically.
Before.
And I was, this was when I was still blue-pilled, and I honest to God thought the only reason why
Don't talk like
the Republicans were shooting him down was the fact that he was black.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
now
for
I
a while
that,
there were, but then, like, after you kind of peel back the layers, you realize everything since fucking, like, the old, like, George Walker Bush. Like, George Walker Bush Sr. is just the shenanigans with, how they've operated is, they smoke screen everything to the point where anybody who's in opposition of them, usually conservatives, have to catch them on totally ephemeral stuff. Like, it's how Bill Clinton was impeached for a blowjob, and everyone that's how they spun it. It's like Bill Clinton was impeached for a blowjob in the White House. Isn't this fucking bullshit?
No, he was censored for lying to Congress.
Yeah, he was impeached. He was impeached for, like, they were trying to catch him on any of the shit he was doing. He had been pulling shit since day one, and they were like, "No, we're just gonna ignore everything." And they couldn't get him on anything, so they were grasping at straws, and I guess maybe they got some straws there, but like.
Well, he did lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, like to be fair, I mean, yeah,
sexual relations with that robot. My name is Garom and Zoom, and I am sick and tired of these motherfucking liberals on this motherfucking.
Sex bots are going to be a thing in my lifetime.
Yeah,
Dear Lord.
it's gonna be horrible. The feminist outcry will be so ridiculous that a world war will be fought over it. But
well, no offense to women, but they're doing a pretty good job explaining to men why they shouldn't get married.
I mean,
just saying, I'm looking at the marriage rates, and they're not doing too good.
I would like to note that before we move on to something I wanted to bring up, because we were talking about congressional hearings and everything, that yes, Democrats, a Canadian just educated you on what it is to be an American,
Yes, it's pretty sad when I need to educate Americans on constitutional law.
Well, you're not educating anybody. That would assume they would listen to us. Nobody's
Oh
listening
yeah,
to
I
us.
mean our audience is smart.
Our audience
We
is
love your
smart.
audience.
All
We
5
love
of
you.
them.
Oh, I think it's up to 6.
Brilliant. 6 brilliant. It's that picture. Like, I'm not. I feel bad. I don't feel like I'm making fun of them, but like it'd be hilarious if like you see our audience and it's the picture of the fucking Wojak where his brain is so huge he's using it as an easy chair.
Can't see how many subscribers we have.
I know. I did that on purpose. Anyway, but speaking of congressional hearings, fucking Jason Chaffez, that was like, we're gonna audit the Federal Reserve.
Oh,
That was fucking great. I
I
posted
am.
that, and
We are going to need all the clipboards and pocket protectors for this one, boys.
we're gonna. Someone is going to get taxed to fuck.
I'm actually pretty hopeful about this one because, well, how to say this? What was the argument he was making? Basically, America is a bit of a unique country in this world because we have basically a check and balances system, and we look over our own shoulders. And it's about time we basically looked over our own shoulder on this one. It was basically saying it's like, hey, we believe in living up to a standard, and our standard is holding ourselves accountable, and we need to hold ourselves accountable
I
right
want to
now.
know how they fucked up this bad that this is just now happening.
Well, I wouldn't be. Well, the feds don't. I'm not sure if you've gone through any of these audits, but I had to do this once, and holy shit, it was like pulling teeth.
Yeah, they always are.
So I can understand where the feds like, listen, do you have any idea how huge of an organization we are? Do you understand how much work this would be? I don't want to do this.
Yeah, but I mean, not just that on that level. I mean, like the Federal Reserve, like you understand, like the whole problem with the Federal Reserve is that it's a privately owned bank that issues public currency.
Yes, it's a
And
weird system.
mm-hmm. Guys, it's capitalism. No, that is cronyism, not capitalism.
So I'm actually thinking this is good because accountability is so important in government. This is going to hold everyone's feet to the fire. And, if there's nothing in there, there's nothing in there. But, you know, A, you might find out people who are corrupt, and B, audits also really show the inefficiencies of an organization. And, hey, I'm sure everyone would love the savings you could get from a better managed reserve. It's kind of hard to be exciting about this financial news.
Yeah, well, you want to be excited about the other news that we got that pausing is now legal.
Pausing is now legal.
Yeah, or not now legal, but they're proposing it to be legal. There's a bill that like the L.A. Times reported it. There's a bill on the docket for California to make it to gear down the felony of having unprotected sex with a partner without telling him about your HIV positivity. Gear it down from a felony to a misdemeanor.
Okay, I wasn't even aware there was a law against that in the U.S., but I guess that makes sense.
What? I mean, is there not a law against that in Canada?
I have no idea.
So it's kind of fucked up. Like, no, there's a law about that. Is that like if you're
Yeah,
not
I mean,
allowed?
I get about asking a potential sexual partner, like, are you drug and disease free?
Yeah, but like if they can prove that you're aware that you had an STD and you willingly had unprotected sex with somebody who you didn't tell, who's provably unaware of that information, it's considered assault in some states, and in other states it's like another kind of crime. But it's like it's a felony. It's a really heavy felony because you're just you're permanently putting a fucking fucked up disease on somebody's life just because you're an asshole. who like
Well,
needs to get their dick
yeah, I
wet.
can see assault because you're demonstrably causing physical harm to that individual.
Or in many cases, you're wet dicked. But um, the thing the thing about that is that like fucking California is like no, it shouldn't be a felony. This should just be a misdemeanor. It's not a big deal that you gave somebody HIV. And I don't know, like, you know who I'm talking about when I say pausers, right? Like, you know what pausing is?
No.
All right, POZZING. Just so people know, so I'm not talking about the thing you do with your remote, you tremendous TiVo owning faggots. But like the thing pausing, it was a term that came out of Britain. It's a sexual fetish that is really popular amongst goons for some reason, and it's a sexual fetish that fucking shit kickers all over the world are into, especially people in like SJW communities for some reason. Because like I don't know why they seem to be like a pit of people with like fucked up sexual fetishes and shit, along with all the gender identity shit going on. But it's a fetish where you willingly get yourself infected with STDs or other viri, and you willingly infect other people with them.
The fuck?
And you get off on infecting other people with them. Like, there's a guy I know on Discord. I'll see if I can get him to find the quote again. He found one of the posts about it, and then there's another. He found one of the posts about it because he's been on something awful a bunch of times with it because he digs into goons, but and Mr. Medicare did a video on it about how there's people that were trying to create. They were trying to. I don't know if he did a video about it or if he like posted it on Twitter, but he was talking about how he had found a post by people in one of the forums that was about pausing stuff. And it was like this chick that was trying to figure out a way to get this was on Twitter. It was this chick that was trying to figure out a way to create a super strain of HIV.
Okay.
I need to keep drinking, sorry. You scared yet?
Well, listen, I'm sure there's more deadly biological weapons out there, but it just seems totally fucked up.
Well, do you know how fucked up HIV is? Guessing not.
No. Yeah, yes, I do know how fucked up HIV is.
Then why are you just gonna pass it off? It's like, I'm sure there's more deadly biological weapons elsewhere. Yeah, I'm sure, if you hit somebody with cyanide, they'll die. HIV's not that bad.
And ricin, and there's a whole bunch of shit.
They'll just live the rest
weapons.
of their life in crippling agony and fear of everything because the common cold could put them on bed rest for 9 days and lose them their job.
It'd be easier just to shoot them in the kneecaps.
Yeah, basically. I mean, that's functionally that's what HIV does. It kneecaps your immunity system. So, what else you got? You have something else you want to bring up to that?
Well, this was kind of interesting. It just came up on my feed. We were talking about YouTube earlier, and made a comment, basically, Marxism is a mental disorder, and the PragerU video, how socialism ruined my country.
Prager University.
Prager, whatever.
Suck it.
Yeah, anyways. So this is interesting. This comment was deleted because it was marked as spam. And they give me the option to restore it, but I can't. It's very interesting. Be afraid of socialism. It brings misery, class struggle, authoritarianism, and loss of hope. We Brazilians are suffering a lot. Look at our GDP in recent years. Look at the number of murders that have taken place in recent years. Look at the general poverty and lack of sparkle in our eyes. I ask you all a favor. Combat socialism now with all your might. This comment was removed as spam and is only visible to you. They give me an option to restore it. I can't. This comment is clearly not spam. It's talking about socialism, saying that socialism is bad and you should fight it on a video all about how socialism is bad.
Yep.
Okay, just a little creepy, YouTube, just a little fucking creepy. Go back to your theories about Candid and it looking for keywords, figuring out speech patterns about the rational skeptic community and automatically silencing anyone who speaks out. Too bad for you guys, because I am going to make one of my own comments and restore it.
Great.
YouTube is getting scary these days.
I wouldn't say scary, but yeah, I could see that.
They have got to get around to testing their algorithms in private before just releasing this bullshit on all of us. Do they not have a QA department over there?
I'm pretty sure they do. I think that they just don't care.
Their attitude is, for YouTube, who's going to challenge us? We can do anything.
We can do anything. We can pretend about anything. Right.
It's just YouTube is getting scarier and scarier. Do we want it to? So yeah, Obamacare has survived. The Democrats are saying, "Oh, we totally saved Obamacare."
We saved Obamacare.
No, you
We're
fucking
super
didn't.
cool, guys. We promise.
No, you didn't. This was 100% the Republicans infighting. So eat shit. Also, dear Republicans, what the fuck have you been doing for the last 7 years? You've been promising to repeal and replace, and what? You were just sitting on your ass for 7 years? It's almost like the Republicans didn't expect to win.
Yep. Because they really didn't.
And then all of a sudden they won, and they're like, what the fuck?
And they were like, wait, we didn't win. Trump won. Shit.
Yes, and that's been the interesting one, because Trump is clearly not a patient man.
No.
If anyone could have guessed it. And it's interesting to see how he's reacted to his first, I would say, major setback. See, when it was the travel ban, he could at least blame it on Democrats. Now, he can only blame this on his own party.
I have no idea what to do about this one. Just because it keeps happening. Every time you make a counter argument about it, it's just never-ending fucking onslaught of never-ending onslaught of people being like, but Trump. It like even people who aren't even like Democrats that are just on the left, that are generally okay people like Vernaculus or Nicholas Garoff, like. They are on point a lot of the time, and then sometimes they just go, but Trump, and it's like, will you shut the fuck up about him? Like, he's only such a figure of controversy because so many people are making controversies around him.
Oh, what the fuck? Just speaking of the YouTube comment, this was one of the replies I got, just speaking of dumbasses. I hope you understand the irony of basing your moral compass on the man who created world-destroying nuclear bombs while accusing others of being mentally ill. I'm sorry, when did Friedrich Nietzsche invent the nuclear bomb?
If only Nietzsche had the bomb, it would have been great.
Wait, he's replying to the guy above him. Nationalism is a mental illness. Albert Einstein. I'm sorry. When did Einstein build the nuclear bomb? Oh, right. That was other people. God fucking damn it. Leftists, how are you this retarded? Facts. What are they and how do they work? All this at 11.
We have anything else we really want to go with?
I think after reading that YouTube cancer, I kind of just need to drink.
Well, we've been drinking.
Oh, right. Yes. And it's still not helping.
Nope. See, I finished my beer. I moved on to Everclear. It's not working.
It's just too much fucking cancer.
Yeah. I guess you can't drown the cancer. Sad.
Well, there's always my theory about chemo. That's probably for another podcast. Get on your tinfoil hat, kiddos. Garum's cure to SJWism. It's a hell of a drug.
Yeah. Well, that's been
So
us.
we're done?
That's been
Yes.
us.
For any listeners who have somehow made it this far, you should watch Dave Chappelle's new comedy specials. They're great. They really are.
They really are. Even God, he's such a fucking master of misdirection and redirection. Like, even when he had that, he goes on a giant rant about feminism and everything and how we should be all in support of it, and then he just turns it back on its head on every time, and it's just awesome. Or the fucking. He
Him
rapes,
being high
but
in the car
What
when-
I'm trying to say is he rapes, but he saves. But he saves but he
more than he
rapes.
rapes.
You're just like, fucking
great.
god damn it! Like,
Yeah.
I know the fucking the brick joke / callback is a staple of comic specials, but I haven't seen it that well done in a long goddamn time.
I'm so happy Chappelle's back.
Yeah.
And Bill Burr's got a special coming up on Netflix.
Another one. Bill Burr's got a bunch of Netflix specials, but Bill Burr's a fucking baller. So like, you should.
And Netflix is interesting because they rape but they save. I mean, we get
They rape,
we
but
get
they save.
we gotta put up with some crap they produce, like Dear White People. But then we also get the Chappelle specials.
Yeah.
The good news is no one gave a shit about the Dear White People bullshit.
Oh my god, I could do an entire rant on that fucking thing alone.
I would just love to sit those people down with the psychologist and give them an hour. Just have the psychologist come out.
No,
He's like,
'cause it's like-
yeah, they're just racist. They're just straight up racist.
It's not even just the racism. It's like from a fucking base, from a base, just a basic artwork perspective of film and TV show construction and everything. Dear White People is not a movie that you can suddenly adapt into a fucking TV series. That makes no goddamn sense. That's like, it's like the way that they went about it too is like, these hackneyed 80s cartoons that made no sense, that were always, run-ups to a fucking reboot of the series. It's like the fucking, it's like this was like the social justice equivalent of all those fucking shitty Power Rangers movies from the 90s, where like the entirety of the Power Rangers plot line and lore could be explained in a single movie and have everything come to a head and everything's done, and then right after that movie comes out, they announce a new series that just reboots the entire premise all the fuck over again.
Isn't that basically what they've almost done with Spider-Man?
Yes. But I mean, at least Spider-Man has the excuse of it being comics, so it's always been a serialized format. So it kind of extends to the film world. And also, Sony fucked the goat on that one. Twice. I don't know how The Amazing Spider-Man got a sequel. It was dumb.
No shit. Holy fuck.
Anyway.
Well, they kind of. Well, then again, they had to keep the rights.
Yeah. Except, that was just the problem. It's like they just did it to keep the rights. They weren't doing it because they actually tried. It's just, more of the corporate money fucking that goes on where they're trying to pretend it's like, we need to keep this thing because this is how we make money. It's like, no, dude, if you just let creators create something that they like, it will return the money that you put into it like tenfold, even if it has to be over a longer period of time. You can't just keep investing in everything at random like it's going to always be a smash hit. Like, just every single producer always wants to. They always want their projects to be like James Cameron, but it's like they don't understand that that's not how fucking shit works. Whatever. Business school is cancer. Who cares?
It's almost like they don't teach them how to make a budget.
It's almost like they don't teach them anything.
Business school, they're there not to learn. They're there to make contacts.
School. Yeah.
They're there to make business contacts.
Well, that's just Ivy League schools in general.
Which is weird because I went to a good school and I didn't make any fucking contacts.
Maybe it's because you're autistic.
Or maybe because we were so busy having information shoved into our brains because it was a STEM field. Oh, you mean I actually went to university to learn something? Wow, I mean, what an archaic... No one goes to university to learn shit. Nobody, just nobody. Would just, skip all those highly paid engineers, doctors, nurses, and other assorted technical fields that get paid a shit ton of money because they took the time to, get a good education. And, had parents that...
Just gave them everything?
Well, it's better to say saved because they love their kids.
Oh. This has been Victor Von Zoom, sitting here on the LOVEseat with Garom.
Hello. Goodbye. Just the two of us. We can make it if we try. Just the two of us. Building castles in the sky.